You hear the name Claude Code, beat,
Mm-hmm.
and your brain probably jumps straight to a very specific image.
Oh, yeah. A slightly terrifying image, usually.
Right. You picture a dark room,
Mm-hmm.
a terminal screen, endless lines of green text just scrolling by in the matrix.
Which is super intimidating. Most people assume it's strictly for software developers, building complex apps.
But that image is a massive misconception.
Huge one.
Today, we are unpacking something entirely different. We are exploring 7 highly practical use cases for Claude Code.
And the best part,
Every single one
Yeah.
requires absolutely zero coding knowledge.
none at all.
Welcome to the deep dive.
I am incredibly excited about this one. We are looking at tasks you probably do by hand every single week.
Right.
Just mind-numbing, repetitive chores.
We want to show you how this tool actually works under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we really need to understand the core distinction.
Yeah.
How is this actually different from standard ChatGPT?
Well, it comes down to where the actual work happens. Usually you open a browser, you drag and drop a few files into a chat window, you explain your problem from scratch, and then, you just cross your fingers and hope it remembers everything.
So standard ChatGPT is like a really smart intern you meet at a coffee shop.
Exactly.
You've got to bring all your files with you. You have to explain the entire business every time.
Right.
And they still forget half of it.
That is a great way to picture it. But Claude Code is different. It's like giving that intern a permanent desk in your actual office.
With the keys to the filing cabinet.
Yes, because it operates directly on your own machine. It uses a workspace.
Just to clarify, a workspace is a digital folder where all your connected files live together.
Precisely. It sits inside that folder, it reads your files, it edits them.
It reorganizes things.
Yeah, and it can even create entirely new files directly on your computer's hard drive.
And you save that whole workflow for later.
Right, it's fully persistent.
That persistent memory changes the entire paradigm. Beat. Let's begin at the absolute baseline of digital frustration.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Messy, raw data.
Ah, yes. The dreaded spreadsheet folder.
I gotta offer a vulnerable admission here. I still wrestle with raw CSV dumps myself, avoiding them for days.
We all do. I mean, a CSV dump is just a raw text file separating data with simple commas.
Right.
But they get messy incredibly fast.
You download a customer list from Shopify,
Mm-hmm.
another from your email provider,
Yeah.
maybe a random Excel sheet from finance.
And every single one has entirely different column names.
The dates are formatted differently. One says Jan 1st, another says 0101.
It is a complete nightmare.
It really is.
Normally, you're opening each file manually, you're dragging columns around, you're hunting for empty rows to delete.
It takes hours of mindless clicking just to prep the data for analysis.
Yeah.
So how does Claude Code bypass that? Do you just point it at the folder and say, fix it?
Kind of. You give it a set of baseline rules. You say, make all dates YMMDD, standardize the column headers, remove any exact duplicate rows, keep missing values if you can't logically infer them.
And it reads the whole folder's content simultaneously.
exactly.
But here's my fear. A language model just winging it with my financial data sounds terrifying.
Sure.
How do we trust it won't hallucinate and delete vital data?
Because of the built-in audit step. It physically pauses for human sign-off.
So it asks permission before altering any of your actual data.
Yep. And even then, it never overwrites your originals.
Okay, that's good.
Safety is baked into the workflow. It saves the newly cleaned versions into a brand new folder. Plus, it generates a markdown report detailing exactly what changed.
A markdown report being a plain text document using simple symbols for formatting.
Right.
So you can read it easily without needing a clunky word processor.
Which keeps you in total control of the process.
2-sec silence. So the quantitative data is clean.
Thankfully.
That's a huge relief.
Yeah.
But what about qualitative information? Like, we need to turn a messy research folder into a structured brief.
Think about a typical research project. Let's say you're analyzing Gen Z buying habits.
Okay.
Your folder is a chaotic mix of industry PDFs, transcribed customer interviews, and your own random notes.
You inevitably lose the thread.
Always.
You read a great quote about TikTok shopping,
Yeah.
but you can't remember which of the 40 PDFs it was in.
It's awful. But with Claude Code, you ask it to read across all those files at once. You instruct it to construct a unified research brief.
And it just does it.
Yeah. It scans everything, finds the overarching themes, and builds an executive summary.
But how does it track the sources?
Yeah.
I don't want a summary if I can't prove where the data actually came from.
It uses trick citations. For every key finding or number, it notes exactly which PDF or transcript it pulled from.
It builds a matrix of evidence.
Exactly.
Wait, hold on. What happens when two PDFs completely contradict each other? Standard AI usually tries to smooth things out and give you a bland, averaged-out answer.
The prompt specifically tells it to highlight conflicts rather than inventing a consensus.
It spotlights disagreements instead of forcing a fake artificial consensus.
Because that's exactly what a good human researcher would do. You need to know where the friction is.
Right.
And the really powerful part is how it handles updates. Let's say you drop 3 new trend reports into the folder next week. It reads them.
But let me guess. It rewrites the whole thing from scratch.
Not at all. It only updates the specific sections of the brief that are affected by the new data.
It surgical strikes the new info into the existing document.
Overlapping, yeah, exactly.
That is incredibly efficient. Beat. We've synthesized outside research. Let's turn the lens inward.
Okay.
Auditing our own content archive.
Oh, this is a big one. After a year or two of publishing newsletters or blog posts, your own archive starts working against you.
You end up with hundreds of pieces of content.
Right.
You start wondering if you've already written about a topic. You lose track of your own ideas.
So you point Claude Code at your archive folder, you ask for a comprehensive audit.
And it can handle all that.
Yeah, it cross-references topics, published dates, and formats.
But let me push back here. If it's reading my entire archive of 500 blog posts, isn't that going to cost a fortune in API tokens?
You'd think so.
How does it efficiently read all that?
It relies on local context caching.
Okay.
It reads the files in your workspace and indexes them locally. It doesn't have to reread every single word from scratch every time you ask a question.
It understands the folder's structure natively. So it builds a map of my content. And it can even ingest performance data, right? Like Google's Search Console metrics. A KPI, which is a key performance indicator, basically a metric tracking success.
If you have that data, yes. It merges the analytics with the content.
Wow.
It outputs a clear spreadsheet showing what worked and what failed, along with a separate document of new opportunities. Things worth updating.
Will it unfairly judge good content if I simply don't have performance metrics?
No, the prompt explicitly instructs it not to judge performance if data is missing.
It stays completely objective unless it actually has the performance numbers.
Right. It only evaluates based on the hard evidence provided. And there's a vital rule you have to set here.
What's that?
You specifically tell it, do not generate new content yet.
Oh, keep it analytical.
Exactly. Just provide the audit and the planning recommendations.
2-sec silence. We've audited our ideas. Now we need to address the physical clutter.
The digital junk drawer.
Reorganizing hundreds of files.
Everyone has one. Your downloads folder is probably a complete war zone right now.
Total chaos. I've got client invoices sitting next to random campaign images.
Yep.
And cryptically named reports. Things like final v2 real, actually final.pdf.
Overlapping. Oh, we've all been there.
We never organize it because the manual labor takes hours.
But Claude Code can restructure it in seconds.
Really?
You tell it to read the directory, which is just the main folder housing all your messy digital files.
Okay.
You get sorting rules.
Group the invoices by year and month. Sort the images by campaign name. Apply a consistent naming convention to everything.
Yep, and it builds a proposed organization plan first.
So it doesn't just start moving stuff.
Right. It shows you a neat list. Here is the current file name, here is the suggested new file name, and here is the destination folder.
And then it waits for your approval.
Exactly. It provides a reason for the choice, plus a confidence level.
But what does it do with bizarre files it simply can't categorize? Like a random audio memo from 3 years ago.
It follows a strict rule not to guess, isolating them for manual review instead.
It isolates the weird stuff instead of making a wrong guess.
Which prevents it from turning a messy folder into a highly organized disaster.
That makes sense.
You only want it moving things it fully understands. It creates a specific folder called Needs Review and drops the mysteries there. Sponsor.
So, the folders actually make sense now. The natural next step is putting that organization to work.
Right.
Making the computer do the repetitive chores, like weekly reporting.
This is where you reclaim hours of your life. I mean, some reports aren't intellectually difficult.
No.
They just come back every single week, like a chore you can never truly finish.
Pulling the same data, formatting the same output is completely exhausting.
So you set up a dedicated project workspace. You create 3 folders: current week, previous week, and reports.
Okay.
At the end of the week, you drop your fresh data into the current week folder.
And then Claude Code reads the new data, compares it against the previous week, And generates the new weekly report.
Exactly.
It notes the KPI changes, it creates action items.
And it adheres perfectly to the formatting of your past reports. It matches your exact layout.
So you don't have to fiddle with fonts or tables.
Right, it's just done.
But here's a scenario. What if my website traffic just plummets, and the raw data doesn't explain why?
Okay.
Can it handle a sudden, unexplained drop in a key metric?
Yes. It flags unusual values or anomalies as questions needing human review.
It points out the statistical anomalies for you to investigate manually?
It highlights the mystery instead of rating fiction.
Right.
You don't want an AI hallucinating a reason for a sales drop. You just want it to ring the alarm bell so you can look into it yourself.
2-sec silence. We've automated the data reporting. That covers the numbers.
Yeah.
But what about qualitative output? Newsletters, social posts, emails. We need the AI to actually sound human.
Which is tough. Writing with AI is relatively easy. Making it sound like you is the hard part.
Usually you're pasting a massive prompt every single time. You say, act like an expert, use short sentences, don't use the word delve, don't sound like a robot.
And it gets old incredibly fast, and you still end up editing heavily. But in a Claude Code workspace, you use a persistent file, usually called clealue.md.
It sits right alongside a style guide folder and an examples folder.
Right. You put your brand voice rules in the style guide. You put your best past work in the examples folder.
And then what?
You instruct Claude Code to read these files before it drafts anything. It absorbs your vocabulary. It memorizes your band patterns.
Do I get to re-upload these examples every time I want it to write?
No, the workspace saves all of this context permanently for future tasks.
You configure your exact style rules once, and they stick around.
And here is the truly magical mechanic. You instruct the system to review its own draft against the style guide before it ever shows it to you.
Beat. It self-edits.
Yes.
It compares its own output to your rules, catches its own violations, and corrects itself.
It's like having an editor review the writer's work, but they're the same entity.
That's incredible.
You never have to copy-paste your voice guide into a chat window ever again.
2-sec silence. We've pushed this thing to organize, analyze, and write. The final frontier is building small internal tools.
Right?
Managing all this structured content without having to buy expensive new software.
Often, a team just needs a simple tracker, a dashboard to track task owners, publish dates, and status filters.
Normally, that idea is way too small for a real engineering project.
Definitely.
You can't hire a developer for a tiny team dashboard, so you settle for another spreadsheet and pretend it's a system.
But with Claude Code, you describe the workflow you want in plain English. You tell it you want a local HTML tool.
Which is basically a web page running entirely on your computer without internet.
Exactly. You specify the filters you need. You tell it to save data locally right in the browser.
Okay.
It plans the tool, shows you the features, and then physically builds the working code on your machine.
Beat. Whoa. Imagine scaling to 1 billion queries. Or just spinning up custom functioning software in seconds just by describing it. That is wild to me.
It tests the main actions before finishing to ensure the buttons actually click and the filters actually filter.
Okay.
And it explicitly tells you if anything requires manual setup on your end.
Does my team need coding skills to maintain or tweak this tracker?
Not at all. It's designed to be built and adjusted using plain English instructions.
It basically translates your plain English into a working digital tool.
It turns a static folder into a functioning app.
It's Beat. Let's synthesize all of this. We've covered cleaning spreadsheets, synthesizing research, auditing content,
Reorganizing files.
automating reports, preserving voice, and building internal tools. What is the overarching theme here?
The true power of Claude Code isn't generating code for software engineers. That's a massive distraction.
Right.
The real power is the shift from conversational AI to a persistent workspace-level assistant.
The workspace completely changes the paradigm. In a standard chat window, you're always starting over.
Yeah.
You're constantly rebuilding the context from scratch.
Yeah.
It creates so much friction.
But a workspace eliminates that friction. It moves you from explaining the job every single time to reusing saved project context. Your rules, your files, your preferences, they just live there waiting for next week's data.
You solve the problem once, and it stays solved. Which brings me to a final thought.
Okay.
Something to chew on after you finish listening.
Lay it on me.
Beat. If this AI can now reliably clean data, synthesize research, mimic your writing style, and build simple local apps based entirely on folders.
Right.
What happens when we start linking these automated workspaces together?
Overlapping. Oh, wow.
Imagine the output of your research workspace autonomously feeding directly into the internal tracker tool you just built, which then automatically triggers the reporting workspace. The terminal screen isn't a barrier anymore. It's a bridge.
Exactly.
The workflows start talking to each other and the silos completely break down.
That is a fascinating way to look at the future of work.
Sweet. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this shifts how you think about your own repetitive tasks.
Start small. Automate one annoying thing this week.
See you next time. Out to your own music.